Attorney General of Fiji, Mr. Ayasad Kayum, distinguished guests, family and friends, Mbuluvinak to you all. When they told me to make a speech tonight, I was happy. But when I see all the guest list and everyone will be here, now I'm nervous. I'm nervous not because of the amount of people here. I'm used to standing up in front of thousands of people. I'm just nervous because of the wisdom and knowledge inside this room tonight. People that I respect and has done a lot for our country. For that, I'm so humbly and I'm happy to be here. I will talk about little about my journey through sports and what I've seen it has done to the youths and youths in Fiji, especially in my community. I was born in Tuwai and I was raised in Nadi area, in a suburb called Newtown Settlement. And a few years back, Newtown Settlement has been known for crime of sorts that the youth always engage in, and that's the environment I was born into. I was knocked into a different path until I found my passion for rugby. I started playing rugby in primary school, in the under 9 grade to the under 13 grade in Bishop Campton, and we went on to represent Nation at the Malokachi competition that year. I fell in love with rugby and the value of the sport. It changes my life, and that is where everything about me changes forever. And of course, I have a lot of people to thank for, but I believe the changes started with you. After a few years of sacrifice, discipline, and hard work, I was picked to represent our country, and everything just follows. I made my debut in 2014 in the Gold Coast 7, and I've been fortunate enough to play in all the tournaments ever since. But I missed out on the the last Hong Kong, and the Dubai that is happening today, because I need 3 months rest after a long campaign for the Rugby World Cup. I can say I've come through the hardest struggle to the triumph of a lifetime for myself in the pinnacle of sports. My life changes, not just sports, but everything around it. Even my friends were motivated to change the way they see life and the way they take on life after I make my debut in Gold Coast in 2014. I've experienced it firsthand, and I've seen what a good sports program can do to a person. I'm thankful to all the clubs that I have played in and all the coaches that trust me in their respective time as head coach of our nation. And I'd like to thank the government for the support throughout our campaign. To Fiji Rugby Union, who have done a very good work on the development of players and union, that has enabled us to send youth to overseas with contracts to study, play, and earn a living. Sports has a deep impact to people around the world, as I have witnessed in tournaments when different races sit together and share ideas and laugh at the game, regardless of the result, as we always do with the New Zealand team, Australian team, the South African team, After the game, we would always sit together and have a little bowl of kava and laugh. And all that because of the sports. Last week I took nearly 30 plus youths to the Wairiki tournaments, where we engaged in social and team activities, and we took part in the tournament. The women netball team, they won the tournament, and unfortunate for my volleyball team, they lost in the quarterfinal. But I always tell my friend that that is not the loss. We always win because the life that we can change in that 1 week for the youths. And that change, I can already see it in my community. The crime rate have decreased, and I've seen youths that used to engaging in activities that are not good, now focusing on things that can change them and change the community. I'll talk a little bit about my journey in the Olympic 2020, which was held last year. It was one of the hardest campaign I've ever endured. Not because of the training, part of the mental strain we have to go through because of the lockdown and months of training in the lockdown and without seeing our families. And my wife was just given birth to our daughter 2 weeks prior to the lockdown. Thank you. And the boys want to go home to see the family, and the stress all the stress were piling up on me because of the responsibility of the captaincy. I have to be there for the boys. Some of us nearly walk out from camp, but the passion and love that we have for the sport and for our nation kept us going. The week that follows was a blessing and a curse for the boys, for us, because we would do the thing we love, we train, we play, but without seeing our families. The training and playing was not hard, but in our environment. Personally for me, it's easy for me, playing and training. But the hardest part for me as a captain is when the team is picked. Because all that sadness, all that disappointment rests on my shoulder. And when you see one of your brother leaves that you have been spending months together, it saddens you. And I have the responsibility to bind the rest of the boys and keep on going for our country. I told them that day that day will come again, because the team to the Olympic is not yet picked. And a few weeks after that, we went to Australia. A few weeks in Australia, thanks to the Pacific Sport. It was a blessing for us to play against New Zealand and Australia before we traveled to Tokyo. The last week there, the team was picked again. The final team that will go to Tokyo. And the morale that I see in the team environment was not good. But I'm so blessed that I have boys and coaches and management that we stood together and we told each other that we should keep on going for the sakeness of our country. To Tokyo we travel. A small nation vying to defend our goal. Back in Fiji, when we were training at the National Stadium, I told them, before we go to Tokyo, Fiji has already won the gold medal in Rio. I told them that the gold is already buried in Fiji. And I told them, let's keep it that way. We just go and defend. The goal is already back in Fiji. Came the final day, a small island defended the gold medal. Not because of how hard we train or the talents we have, no. But because of the love and care we have for each other and the love we have for our beloved country. And I think that's the way forward for us, not just for sport, but for the country as a whole. Now,
The Honourable Chief Justice, members of the judiciary, our chief guest, Jerry Tuwai, for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Bulavinaka, and good evening. Jerry, thank you very much for your presence here this evening. We've been trying to get you for a number of years, and the staff have been working very hard at it, and we are very glad that you were able to address this gathering. I wish some of the people at the back had took the time out to actually listen to Jerry, because in fact what Jerry said was in fact quite inspirational, and the fact that he came from the background that he did, and today he's excelled on the global stage. He's in fact a household name for anybody that knows about rugby, both domestically and internationally. There's a huge lesson in that for everybody. And as you talked about, and this afternoon's session was about, maintaining or getting rid of stress, being able to handle stress, and also being able to overcome many trials and tribulations that may come along the way. And I sincerely thank you. In fact, many people do not realize, I suppose we're all very used to just watching the Fijian team on television, in particular when they're playing overseas, and we think everything's hunky-dory. But people don't realize the challenges you have to face behind the scenes. And the fact that you were able to win the Olympic gold medal in very arduous circumstances, when there was a COVID lockdown, having to train, and the pressures that you felt in terms of being in touch with your family, I think that proves to us all that many things can be overcome, and we want to thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for him. I think as a captain, he showed the level of tenacity and the level of commitment that's required. And indeed, many people can take lessons from that, that if you have a passion for anything you do, if you're able to specialize in those areas, and you indeed have the ability to be able to look at the big picture, and in this case, of course, one of the big pictures you looked at was in respect of your commitment to your country and to your nation. And rugby is not only about us winning on the occasion, but it's about nationhood. It's about bringing people together that stand under one flag, and the passion that they have in being able to be committed to your country. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed the first day's session. Please enjoy yourselves tonight. We have a band here that's called Sometimes. The reason why they're called Sometimes is because they only get together sometimes. That's why they're called Sometimes. I'd like to thank Adish Naidu in particular, a good man from Nandrunga, who agreed to perform here tonight, and we drove a very hard bargain, and they're here tonight. I'd like to thank the wonderful group of singers, very talented artists. Please enjoy yourselves. The last time we had a gathering at the Aegis conference, we weren't able to dance. We weren't able to be in the close proximity that we are today. So please make the most of it. Sometimes we'll also be performing tomorrow night. We look forward to your presence tomorrow, and have the rest of the conference in an enjoyable fashion. And please contribute to the sessions tomorrow. Minaka, thank you very much.